Stop number 2 on Historic Preservation Month. Clive Taylor, president of Hollywood Historical Society, at none other than rock star architect Cedric Stark. You may not know that name because he's been gone a long time, but his work is all over Hollywood. His name is on so many buildings from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Up into the 80s, this man worked. He's been everywhere. And this is his personal home that was built around 1939, 1940, just before the war when everything stopped, and it's got some great features. I would say that the style of this is kind of similar to the Bayard Lucan's Hammerstein home. You can see some of the same influences here, but I just want to point out a couple of things. The T-square on top of the roof. When an architect built a home, tradition was that you put a T-square on the gable. That T-square is very important because there's a feature inside that is connected to this T-square, and that dial on the side is a sundial. So you've got this T-square and the sundial. You can see this green sidewalk that goes up to the front door, and those little tiles are original. Cedric Stark chose those tiles. The screen door is original, the doorknob is original, and the house was re-roofed in 2000, and the current owner, caretaker, rock star, I'm going to call her, replaced the roof with exactly the same kind of barrel tile, which I don't even think they can do this anymore with the mud. So I thought it was original. It was such a good job, and she explained to me that it was not, but she chose that to keep the theme of the home. This is only the second owner of this house. The person that owns this today bought it off of the state. Remarkable, and thank God she did, because she didn't change much and it's still pristine in its original state. So I would like to introduce the owner of this home, Cindy Ransing, who is coming out now, and I want to thank her for keeping this house. And you can tell us a little bit about your journey buying this house from the original estate, because he had passed away, right?
Right.
And you bought it from the estate. Second owner.
Second owner, right. So I bought it from his 2 daughters, the estate, and I had looked at the house. As soon as you walk in, you see the high ceiling in the living room that really catches your eye, and then the marble fireplace, you know, because it's unusual, because I was looking at so many homes that were just the ranch style. I wanted something unique and different, and just from looking at, you know, the sundial, the T-square, you know, the solarium with a beautiful white marble floor, it just, you know, was like old Florida, something I wanted to own.
Exactly the people we want in this neighborhood, and thank you so much. We're going to walk to the side and we're going to look at the solarium that she's talking about, which still retains its original wooden jalousie windows. Here you can see that these original wooden jalousie windows, which I love, you just never see these anymore. So when you see the outside of the house with the barrel tile roof and the wooden jalousie windows, which are fully functioning right now, and they just are so unique that they're still operating and they're still here. And I don't know what kind of wood they used. It could be redwood, it could be cedar, but they don't seem to rot. And
I'm pretty sure it's redwood.
Redwood, that would make sense, because redwood is a very interesting wood that just doesn't seem to rot. It's a good wood to use in the tropics. So maybe we could go inside and look at a couple of things inside. So let's take a look inside and see how it looks. We talked about these tiles. You know what else I like about this? Look at how it's coved this way, and you've got that inset light. That's totally original, and these are always fun. The old South Florida houses had these little decoration, and then you put your house numbers on. Sometimes it was a palm tree. It was all kinds of fun things, and this is actually original to the house, as well as the mail slot. And Cindy said that this was the door to the old garage.
Right.
So it's funny, it's really tight. You would come out of the garage in here and then go into this room. So let's go inside, if we may. You guys are so lucky to be able to see this. Wow, look at this tile. This is completely original, and I have never seen circles with these diamonds and then these little triangles. That is so interesting. And Sydney pointed out
the screen door.
It kind of matches the screen door. That's what a lot of architects did back in the day. They had a recurring theme. So Cindy, this is interesting. You've got the diamond base plates for the railing, and outside there's diamonds on the original screen door. So there you go.
Yes,
with the repeating theme.
Yes. And they're very sturdy. A lot of people have mentioned, you know, like you'd think they'd be outside because they're so strong and sturdy, but that's how they built things back then.
Wow, very nice. Interesting. So These valances are original?
Yes, they are original. So I did request when I was making the offer for the home to have them keep the balances with the house.
Wow. And it's interesting because it's kind of an Oriental theme
It is.
here, which is interesting.
Yeah, well, Cedric Stark did have some Asian themes for his living room. If you look at the old photos, like from the House Better Gardens magazine, where he had shots of the house.
So this was in a magazine?
Yes.
Okay.
Better Homes and Gardens. It was
wow. Interesting.
And so that wall over there had this huge Asian tapestry from floor to ceiling, just about.
I think I remember seeing that in a picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he had little things like that where he did have, which was interesting, the Asian, theme along with, all these other,
because I didn't think that came till later, the Asian fascination.
More like in the 50s.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he was ahead of his time.
Exactly.
Talk about the fireplace.
Okay, yeah, that beautiful marble fireplace.
Wow.
It still has the original gas log.
So that's the original gas log from 19... Wow.
Yeah, and when I did have it connected to gas, I used to use it. But
and the glass brick is so interesting because it's almost got like little squares in it. And they're large. A lot of times they're smaller glass squares. Those look like they could be 10 inches by 10 by 10s. And again, once again, look at the ceiling. It's a cove ceiling. This whole entire living room ceiling matches the outside. And Cindy, is that the master bedroom?
Yes, it is.
Wow, and look at the railing.
Yeah.
Love it. That's so interesting to have the bedroom like that up on a pedestal. It's multi-level because you come in here and then you come up to the living room and then you go up to that level.
I think that was one of the features that Cedric sold, because he did sell the plans to other
the plan for
buyers.
This home?
Yes. Yeah, I have correspondence where he did sell them, like someone out in Kansas or something.
There's a house on Hay Street that I went into that has this same
the pocket doors, because they open wide open.
It's right in the living room, and there are stairs that go up. And I'm gonna mine the pictures because it was just on the market, and it shows this feature. This must have been from that.
But see, the multi-level, it was much easier to cool it because he didn't have AC back then.
Oh, okay.
And so, other than there used to be a fan up there where the stained glass is, that there's wooden louvers.
One of those gigantic fans.
Right. There's wooden louvers behind that, and this huge fan. And so you'd open the crawl space doors, which are probably, like 30 inches by...
Where are those?
Oh, on the outside.
Oh, so you would open those doors and the air would come up from under the house?
Yes. Because see, where we're standing, this is elevated.
Right.
So there's a huge crawl space.
So, were there vents somewhere that
you would open those doors, turn that fan on, and it would circulate.
Wow.
So it supposedly kept the entire house cool because you had 3 different levels, and to cool it. And then it did have the jealousy windows originally, and they really worked. I mean, they worked well. I would open the top half, and that breeze.
Oh, so they were split in sections. So you had Oh, and so were they frosted? Or clear?
No, they were only frosted in the bathroom. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, it really felt good to open the top.
They had to come up with these little tricks because it was hot in South Florida.
Yeah,
no matter what they say, it was hot.
Yeah.
So in the bedroom, I see the ceiling is also coved. Can you get a shot of that ceiling, Steve? And what I was mentioning outside, you see that dial that says north, east, west, south? That's connected to the T-square on the roof. And depending on which way the wind blows, if you're lying in bed, you can say, oh, the wind's out of the east today. That is so awesome. I've never seen anything like that before. And I don't think it's connected. Cindy, you said it's not connected anymore?
I had to have it replace the pole that was holding the T-square.
So is that the original T-square?
Yes, it's the original T-square. That was all copper, my handyman told me. But I had to have one of the parts replaced because it finally rusted out, and the replacement didn't connect from inside the wall.
But I mean, it's amazing that you have how many hurricanes has this T-square been through? You don't climb up there and take it off, do you?
Oh, no.
So this thing has been through 1939. It's now 2025. You're getting close to 100 years at this point. I mean, it's really amazing. And I love it. And unlike the other house that we highlighted, this was not rebuilt. This is the real deal, inside and outside. Extremely unusual to find that because usually people gut it like Nicholas did, which is fine because you have the outside. But here you have the integrity inside as well, and many people don't get to see that. And that's why I wanted to bring people in here so they could see. how people lived in 1939 and 1940, and I could fit in very well here. I could live here right now and not have a problem. So it's great, and I want to thank you for allowing us to come into your house and highlighting it, because once again, it's people like Cindy and people like Nicholas who do these things, and they're unsung heroes in my book, and they're not appreciated enough for what they're doing, because whenever anybody drives through this neighborhood, they're like, I love this neighborhood because there's so many neat old houses. So, you know, this house is a rock star house because it was a rock star architect. And I think Cindy mentioned that he had some sort of certification.
Yeah, he's credentialed as an American Institute of Architecture.
So not every architect gets that kind of labeling.
No, you don't. That's like, you know, RNs and other different credentials. You have to work for them to be able to achieve them.
So that's why he was so prolific, because his designs were incredible. And if you say Cedric Stark today, most people don't know who that is, but after this video, maybe people will learn who he is and who he was and appreciate the fact when they drive by and like, oh my gosh, there's Cedric's house. So thank you, Cindy.
My pleasure.
For everything.
Okay.